You wake up and there is no up. There's no sunrise waiting for you, because in the last 90 minutes, the sun has already come up and gone down once. There's no weight pressing you into a mattress because there is no mattress. You're zipped into a sleeping bag, bolted to a wall, and your arms are floating in front of your face like they belong to somebody else. You open your eyes 400 kilometers above the Earth, moving at 28,000 kilometers an hour, and you ask the same question every human asks in the morning. What am I doing today? Except up here, you don't get to answer that. Someone on the ground already did. We picture floating in space as the ultimate freedom. No gravity, no floor, nothing holding you down. The truth is almost the exact opposite. The astronauts living on the International Space Station have some of the most tightly controlled days of any human alive. Their whole waking life is scheduled in advance in 5-minute blocks. So what does a full day up there actually look like? Let's walk through one, hour by hour. It starts with the clock. The entire station runs on a single time zone, Greenwich Mean Time, no matter which country each crew member came from. When it's 6 in the morning in London, it's morning on the ISS. And their morning doesn't begin with coffee. It begins with a meeting. But first, sometimes, it begins with music. Mission Control has a long tradition of waking crews up with a song. A small human touch beamed up from a planet full of people who are all, in a way, on your team. Then, the real day starts. It's called the Daily Planning Conference. The crew floats together and talks to the control rooms on the ground. Not one room, but teams scattered across the world, in Houston, in Moscow, in Munich, in Japan, who walk them through a timeline that has already been built for them. Task by task, minute by minute. NASA plans an astronaut's day so precisely that there's a live schedule scrolling on their laptops, color-coded, showing exactly where they should be and what they should be touching at any given moment. Roughly 6.5 hours of that day is work. Over 2 hours is exercise. Around 8.5 hours is set aside for sleep. Almost none of it is left blank. Now, you're probably thinking the work is the fun part. Floating around, staring at Earth, doing a couple of cool science demos for the camera. It isn't. A huge amount of an astronaut's day is unglamorous, and a lot of it is repair. The space station is a 25-year-old machine the size of a football field, and things break constantly. So the crew are part scientist, part plumber, part electrician. On any given morning, you might be running an experiment, growing crystals, watching how a flame burns without gravity, checking on plants that don't know which way is up, and then spend the very next block replacing a broken pump, chasing down an air leak, or scrubbing carbon dioxide out of the air so it doesn't quietly build up around you. And when the station's only toilet breaks, which it does, fixing it isn't a chore. It's an emergency, and it's your job. The station is also the cleanest and the dirtiest place at once. Without gravity, dust, crumbs, and moisture don't fall to the floor. They float and drift into equipment and hang in the air. So a real part of the job is just keeping the machine that keeps you alive from slowly clogging itself to death. And you do all of this while gently bumping off the walls, holding tools that would drift away the second you let go. Everything, every screwdriver, every laptop, every snack, is held down with Velcro or a strap, because just put it down for a second doesn't exist up here. Here's one detail that tells you everything about life on the station. The water. It's far too precious to waste, so almost all of it gets recycled. Sweat, breath, even urine, all filtered back into clean drinking water. As the astronauts like to say, today's coffee becomes tomorrow's coffee. Nothing is ever thrown away because there is no away. And speaking of coffee, even eating is engineering. There are no open plates because food would simply float off them. Most meals are dried out and brought back to life with a water gun or sealed in pouches you warm up and eat straight from with a spoon. Astronauts use tortillas instead of bread because a slice of bread sheds crumbs, and a single floating crumb can drift into an eye, a nose, or a control panel. Salt and pepper only exist as liquids, squeezed from a bottle, for the exact same reason. There's even an espresso machine up there now, built specially so the coffee can't escape mid-pour. You anchor your tray to your leg or the wall. You catch drifting drinks straight out of the air, and if you're not paying attention, you eat while slowly rotating in place. After lunch comes the part of the day nobody is allowed to skip. 2 hours of exercise. In weightlessness, a body that never has to lift anything quietly starts to fade. So the crew fight it, hard, every single day. They run on a treadmill while bungee cords yank them down onto it, because otherwise they'd just float off the belt. They ride a bike bolted to the wall that has no seat, because up here you don't sit on anything. They lift on a resistance machine that uses vacuum cylinders instead of weights, since actual dumbbells would weigh nothing at all. 2 hours every day strapped to machines, sweating in a place where sweat doesn't drip. It clings to your skin in a growing, wobbling film until you wipe it away. By the evening, the scheduled work is finally done. And this is where the day opens up. The crew eat together. Dinner is social, everyone floating in a loose circle, trading food, talking. The one stretch of the day that feels almost normal. Sometimes they pull out a radio and for a few minutes talk to a classroom of kids somewhere on Earth who manage to catch the station passing overhead. And then, if there's time, they go to the window. There's a module on the station called the Cupola. 7 windows arranged in a dome. The single best view any human has ever had. This is where astronauts spend nearly every free minute they get. They watch entire continents slide past in total silence. They photograph hurricanes spiraling below them, city lights blooming across the night side of the planet, green auroras rippling just underneath their feet. Because the station circles the Earth every 90 minutes, they see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets in a single day. 16 chances to watch the whole planet light up. Almost every astronaut says the same thing when they come home. They never got tired of that view. They came back changed by it. They also call home. A short video link, a laptop floating in front of them, family on the other end living an ordinary evening on a planet they can literally see out the window. And on weekends, the pace finally drops. Saturday mornings are mostly cleaning. Even in orbit, someone has to wipe things down. But the rest is lighter. More time at the window, a shared movie, a birthday marked with a floating pouch of something special, a real chance to rest. Then the day ends the way it began. You float back into a padded box barely bigger than a phone booth, your own crew cabin, the only truly private space you have up here, and climb into a sleeping bag tied to the wall so you don't drift into anything during the night. Some astronauts say they dream of falling. You close your eyes moving at 28,000 kilometers an hour, and somewhere below you, another sunrise happens without you. And here's the strange part. Down here, most of us drift through our days. We hit snooze, we let the hours blur together, we complain about a commute, a schedule, a routine we never really chose. Up there, every single minute is fought over because time and air and water are the most precious things in the universe, and none of them are free. The astronauts on that station live the most planned, most demanding, most controlled days a human can possibly live. And almost none of them would trade it. Because at the end of that impossible day, they get to float to a window and look down at the one thing the rest of us walk straight past without ever noticing. Home. You spend your whole life trying to escape your routine. They flew 400 kilometers into the sky, followed a schedule down to the minute, recycled their own coffee, and spent their few free moments staring down at the ordinary world you woke up in this morning, and counting the days until they could get back to it.